When the Second World War finally came to an end and the world witnessed the collapse of the Third Reich, a quiet curiosity began to emerge among psychologists, investigators, and the general public. What were the minds of the men who led Germany into terror really like? Were they evil geniuses, brilliant manipulators, or just fanatics who got lucky with power? This question became even more intriguing when, during the Nuremberg Trials, the main captured Nazi leaders were subjected to IQ tests, something few people imagine when they hear about that historic tribunal. Yes, before being tried, these men underwent complete psychological evaluations, and the results left many perplexed. The psychologist in charge, Gustav Gilbert, administered the Wechsler-Bellevue test, which at the time was the most reliable instrument for measuring intelligence. It was there, amid cold cells and interrogations, that the list emerged which still sparks debate to this day, who, among the Nazi leaders, had the highest IQ. And the top of this ranking may surprise many people. The man with the highest IQ was neither Hitler, nor Himmler, nor Goebbels. The highest score was achieved by Hjalmar Schacht, former president of the German Central Bank and Minister of Economics. His IQ was recorded at 143, a level considered very superior. Schacht was brilliant, articulate, and a master strategist. Ironically, although he helped the regime in its early years, he eventually broke with Hitler. This was one of the factors that spared him the tragic fate met by many of the other collaborators. Right behind him comes another name that many do not expect, Arthur Seyss-Inquart. The man responsible for administering occupied Holland scored an impressive 141. He was calculating, cold, and extremely logical traits that were reflected both in his political actions and in his test score. But perhaps the most shocking result belongs to one of the regime's most infamous figures, Hermann Göring, the second most powerful man in the Reich, founder of the Gestapo and commander of the Luftwaffe. Göring scored 138 on the IQ test. Despite his theatrical and arrogant demeanor, the test revealed that he was far more intelligent than he appeared. Cunning, manipulative, and a skilled strategist, Göring even impressed the psychologists with his mental quickness. Tied with him comes Karl Dönitz, the admiral who took over from Hitler after the dictator's suicide. He also scored 138, demonstrating an extremely meticulous mind, perfectly suited to military command. Little further down the list appear other well-known names. Hans Frank, the Governor-General of occupied Poland, scored 130. Alfred Rosenberg, one of the most influential ideologues of Nazism, recorded 127. Julius Streicher, despite his grotesque and fanatical demeanor, surprised with a score of 106, above average, but still far below the others. These numbers raised a question that troubled many people. How could such intelligent individuals become involved in such monstrous acts? The results shattered the notion that evil stems solely from ignorance. The truth is far more disturbing. Intelligence by itself does not guarantee morality, empathy, or character. Over the years, experts have attempted to estimate the intelligence of other leaders who were never formally tested. Adolf Hitler, for example, never underwent a formal test. However, analyses of his oratorical ability, memory, political strategy, and command of diverse subjects suggest an estimated IQ between 120 and 130. That is, above average, but far from genius level. His impact did not stem from intellectual brilliance, but from his terrifying skill at manipulating emotions, exploiting social tensions, and transforming collective frustrations into fanaticism. Joseph Goebbels, the master of propaganda, would likely have scored high as well. Analyses suggest something in the range of 130 to 140, taking into account his doctoral degrees, his literary output, and his rhetorical agility. Heinrich Himmler, leader of the SS and architect of the Holocaust, is also estimated to have had an IQ between 125 and 135. He was organized, disciplined, and obsessive traits that, once again, have nothing to do with virtue. The most unsettling part of this story is the conclusion it reveals. After months of interviewing and studying these men, Gustav Gilbert wrote that the greatest difference between them was not in their IQ scores, but in the absolute lack of moral conscience they displayed. He stated that the real problem was not their intelligence, but their inability to feel guilt, remorse, or empathy. And perhaps that is the great lesson behind the question, Nazi leaders' IQ, who was the cleverest? Intelligence does not make anyone good. It does not protect the world from evil. And it does not prevent brilliant minds from becoming instruments of destruction when guided by perverse ideologies. In the end, the Nuremberg tests were not meant to praise anyone. They serve to expose a truth the world cannot ignore. When intelligence loses its conscience, the result can be devastating.